The Visit is directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and if you guys have been following my channel over the past month, I've been reviewing all of his films that I haven't yet reviewed, including Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, The Village, and Lady in the Water, all leading up to the release of his new film. I had a great time doing that with you guys, and now we're going to talk about his new film. I've been excited about this because I've been hearing buzz. There's been some screenings of this at various cons, and a lot of people have walked out of it with smiles on their faces. In this film, we have two young kids, a brother and a sister. She's an aspiring filmmaker. She wants to be a documentarian, and she is documenting her trip to meet their grandparents for the very first time, and they're not exactly how they expected them to be. In fact, they're pretty frickin' creepy. And we get this story through found footage format, and instantly you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, holy shit, this is gonna be awful. Let me give you an analogy. Imagine a pro baseball player. Him and his team win 3 World Series in a row. Boom, boom, boom. But then he kind of gets injured, and he limps through the next season. Then he quits entirely. He gives up. He leaves. But something in his head tells him that something isn't right. He wants to rediscover his passion. He wants to go back to his roots, so he starts playing baseball again. Now, is he going to win a World Series in that first season? Probably not. But he's going to have a few solid base hits. And The Visit is a solid base hit. This is not a great movie, but for what it is, I enjoyed The Visit for a number of reasons. For one, it's a very small budget movie. M. Night Shyamalan apparently took the fee that he earned from directing After Earth, or supposedly he directed it. Some reports have indicated that maybe Will Smith actually directed that movie, and Shyamalan just sort of had shot setups, and that's all he got to do. Nevertheless, he did get paid for working on After Earth, and he took that money and went away from the studio system. He went away from the Hollywood system, and he made an extremely small movie for a few $1 million of his own money with actors that he trusted, and he made this film not even knowing if a studio was going to buy it or release it or not. When I went to the Visit panel at Comic-Con this year, he told this story about being extremely nervous when he sent it to Blumhouse and not even knowing if they were going to like it or not. He had no idea what was going to happen with this movie. He made it on his own with no one telling him what to do, nobody whispering in his ear, and it's his best film since The Village. What really worked about this movie for me, surprisingly, is that it's actually a comedy in disguise. And I'm not talking about The Happening, where you're laughing because you're not supposed to. That was us laughing at Shyamalan. In this movie, he encourages us to actually get in on the joke, and he has some truly good humor working through this movie, largely through the brother character. This kid is fantastic. He's an aspiring rapper, and he wants to get famous on YouTube. And he will often, in the middle of a random conversation, start busting a rhyme when he probably shouldn't be doing that. And it actually makes for some really good humor. And that's one of the things about The Visit that I really appreciated. This is not a terrifying, scary horror film. This is a movie in which we have two young kids who are sort of on a little adventure. They're discovering something creepy, and they grab cameras and they want to film it instantly. And that's kind of how I was when I was their age. When my friends and I got together, we would often just pick up a camera and want to make a little short. We would want to document things. And in a way, the daughter character is almost like Shyamalan parodying himself. She will often stop in the middle of filming and tell her brother to stand in front of, say, a swing just because of the ambiance of it swinging back and forth for dramatic effect. This is a film that you can watch as a found footage scary movie, and you can accept it as that. But similar to all of M. Night Shyamalan's films, even the ones that aren't good, they all have subtext underneath. They all have something else about them that makes them different than your average movie. And this one in particular is in a way parodying Shyamalan's filmmaking styles. He's parodying his self-seriousness, and a lot of that comedy really works, and I guarantee a lot of people who aren't actually looking for that will not pick up on that. Another thing about The Visit that strongly surprised me was its dramatic heft. There are some very good scenes involving the history between the mother and the daughter and the son, and the difficulties that exist there in them trying to reconnect with these grandparents because they didn't have a very good childhood. I was kind of touched, to be honest, with the way this film concluded. I won't spoil anything, but it actually got me right here in the heartstrings. But by far, my favorite thing about this movie is actually the way in which the found footage gimmick is used. The thing that I cannot stand in found footage movies, like this year's The Gallows, is that they are marketing themselves as a found footage movie. A movie in which you're supposed to be watching realistic footage and it gets you sucked in and you're like, oh my gosh, this is real, this is really intense. But there's jump scares. There's music inserted and other things that would never be there. This film has none of that. Save for one song at the end of this movie, there's no music in this film unless the characters are playing music in the film. There's no unnecessary sound effects or things that wouldn't actually happen in this girl's film, because this movie that you're watching is supposed to be the girl's film that she is documenting. We're watching this play out. Aside from the fact that there are opening credits that include the cast and the crew, everything else feels as if she's made this movie herself. And that is really impressive. The fact that they didn't use any of those cheap found footage gimmicks, I love that about this movie. Also, the performances in the movie are excellent. The kids were fantastic, the mother was very good, Kathryn Hahn, and the grandparents were really good, especially the grandmother. This woman who seems to have an issue once 9:30 p.m. hits, in which this strange sort of disorder seems to seep into her and she becomes this psychotic individual. Really good acting, and Shyamalan wisely chose to play a lot of that for comedy. You have to understand that for a kid experiencing these really strange things with their grandparents, it's going to feel very awkward. You're going to want to sort of laugh, but you don't know if you should laugh. And they captured that tone perfectly. Where most of the movie felt very realistic, as if this girl was directing this short, there were times towards the end where she would pan away from something, then pan back, oh, it's closer now, pan away, then pan back, oh, it's closer now. It's like that YouTube video of the cat that keeps peeking out from the wall, and as the guy moves his camera back and he moves it back, the cat's closer. That felt very gimmicky, and that didn't work for me. Also, I didn't find the film particularly scary. I think it is almost like a fun, comical adventure with some thrills included, and these two kids are going on this adventure together, and you really feel that. And I like the way the film is edited together. I think it's his best film since The Village. There are certain aspects of this movie that don't work. It does have great performances. I like the fact that it doesn't have all those found footage gimmicks, and it's by far his most competent film in many years. I'm going to give The Visit a B. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching, and I gotta let you know I'm going to be going to TIFF. I am leaving for TIFF today. I'm going to be seeing a lot of films there. I'm excited for it. I hope you guys have a good time with those reviews. I'm going to try to film a few of them in the hotel. It won't be in my background. I asked a poll on Twitter, and most of you wanted me to just film them in the hotel, and I will try to do that for you. Thank you so much as always for watching, guys, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.